Well, looking ahead of the President's visit to the United States, and Dr. Dapo Thomas joins us now, an international relations expert. Thank you for coming on this morning. Well, we understand that the 30-man team has been assembled for this particular visit, but let me start by asking, I mean, how significant is this visit for you? Because we know his predecessors to the President also paid the same visit, the same kind of visit, but of what importance is this one, you think?
Well, when you are looking at the significance of Buhari's visit to U.S., you start from the platform, or you start from the level of the APC manifesto, trying to come up with change. How fundamental the change will be, we don't know. But I think it's a radical departure from what has been in the past. This is a new government, and this government is going abroad, is going to the U.S. to say, okay, these are the things, or this is the way they have been doing things in the past, but we want to do it differently, economically, politically, militarily, and everything. So if you are a new government, after about 16 years, when we had another party in government. So if you're a new government and you see an opportunity of meeting the President of U.S., so to say, the U.S. being psychologically policeman of the world now, and you have that opportunity, you have to establish all these things, these parameters, and try to interface with the government, with the American government, with the American state, as to how you want to start. You have to establish a framework. And I think that for the purpose of establishing this framework, at these various layers, that is the major reason why you have about 30-man delegation. You are trying to convince a government or a state that never or possibly attached only a degree of seriousness to the previous government, the PDP anyway, and they have seen you as a new government and you want to be taken seriously. So you have to show them that you mean business, and it is not business as usual. It's something different entirely. So in a way, this government is going there to establish institutionally its own framework for operating and for interacting, establishing new relations or parameters of new relations with the American government and the American state.
What would be the basis of that establishment, seeing that this is not the first time a Nigerian government, the previous administrations have made the same trip? So what would you think the parameters of that establishment of a new set of a new framework would be?
That's what I'm saying. Now, this is the problem we have as a nation. You have two contexts within which we interpret leadership or governance. One at the level of party. In fact, three. Two at the level of individual. Three at the level of state. But meanwhile, emphasis or maybe primacy is given to the party and the individual. First the individual, next the party, and then the state. So the state comes last. That is the way it has been done. But that is not the way it should be. State should come first. Because when you talk of international politics or international relations, you are looking at the primacy of the state. But most times you discover that in Nigeria, leaders try to promote their own interest, try to promote, in fact, themselves above the state. So that was the failure. That was what was responsible for the failure, for establishing institutional mechanisms and framework through which the two states will interact. So if you continue to operate on the level or at the level of party, at the level of individuals, you will keep having this kind of problem, because when another party comes into government next time, it's going to go to the US to establish its own framework. But meanwhile, if you have institutional framework, institutional national framework, which the state will have to operate, there is no need for these piecemeal trips to US. There is no need for every president going to US, if you go to US maybe once in your administration, maybe once in 8 years, just establish the institutional national mechanisms through which there will be interactions. So the basis or the reasons for this trip now is because the previous, this new government sees the previous government as promoting its own party interest or its own individual's interest. So the state interest was never taken care of. Hence, for instance, take the case of corruption. Buhari believes that ordinarily the state should have institutional framework to fight corruption. But Jonathan never followed this particular rule. Hence, there was no interaction with the level at which they interacted with the US, corruption was not an inclusive, it was not a policy, it was not there.
But he didn't scrap the EFCC. He always said that, yes, he was going to fight corruption. He, in fact, changed the leadership of the EFCC, perhaps signaling that, look, I intend to continue using that institution to fight corruption.
There are some institutions, particularly these institutions we have in Nigeria. Some of them operate or some of them exist academically or theoretically. They don't operate operationally. Now you can see the new energies, the new dynamism, the new drive in EFCC. Why? Because they feel that this new president has the passion to fight corruption, has the drive to fight corruption. So they, at the level, well, I don't know to what extent this is true, but I heard Alhaji Lai Mohammed yesterday saying that they had never had anything to do with EFCC since they came, that it is just on their own. So let us take it as the official position that they have never. So now you see a new EFCC. If you see the leadership trying to live according to his credo or creed, you want to go along with that government, along with that leadership. Because if, for instance, Jonathan never believed in fighting corruption, and the EFCC is going all out to arraign or try or prosecute or persecute most of his henchmen, most of his clients, and arraigning them before courts and everything, they are going to run into trouble. But this time around, if you have a leader who says, look, no matter whose source is God, I don't care. Just go ahead, take anybody, take him to court if you feel that today there are reasons to establish, there are reasons for such trial. So the EFCC under Jonathan existed theoretically or academically, but now they are trying to redefine their operational modalities.
Now you say you seem to be saying some operations to institutionalize the anti-corruption agencies, yeah. But you're not saying that on the foreign diplomacy front, are you? Is that what you're saying?
I can't get that question.
In terms of diplomatic relations, especially relations with other countries, you advocate that we should have an institutional framework so that we don't have a piecemeal arrangement with successive governments coming in.
Sure.
Are you seeing that move already being made to institutionalize our foreign diplomacy?
Well, I think it's too early to speculate, or it's too early to give. It's too early to praise this government or to say this is what this government is going to do. Let us just give them the benefit of the doubt that this is what they want to go and do. But if not, if they are selling,
I would think that will be in-house work. If you're going to build institutions, they'll have to start from some groundwork that's been done in-house, and then perhaps that's what you're going to go and be enunciating when you travel out. But in-house, have you heard? Have you seen anything that tends to say that this is exactly where Nigeria's foreign diplomacy?
That's why I said. That's why I said it is too early, because no policy framework had even been established at all. Mm-hmm. You understand? So if you are going now, what are you going to sell? What are you going to promote? So that's why I'm saying let us give them the benefit of the doubt. But if they are also going to sell leaders, to sell Buhari as an anti-corruption an anti-corruption crusader, to sell party APC as a party that is opposed to corruption, then we are going to have problems, just like we have said.